Clive Rosfield, the Shield of the Undying Flame, is the newest DLC character to join the Tekken 8 roster, and he's come with a bang, bringing with him various mechanics from his series, and having some of the coolest animations not only in Tekken history, but in the history of all fighting games. Clive is an easy-to-play, all-round character who excels at every range, having excellent poking and stance mix-ups when he's up close, some of the best whiff-punishing options in the game from mid-range, and even having full-screen projectiles. The character has a wealth of strong counter-hit options to make your opponents scared to retaliate to his pressure, and when Clive eventually does launch you, it's gonna hurt with his high damage output. Clive is the perfect character for new and returning players alike, and is gonna be a staple pick throughout the life of Tekken 8. In this video, I'll be going over all the basics you need to know to start succeeding with the character. I'll be covering his basic pokes, strongest neutral options, general game plan, unique stances, and his punishment. To watch this guide, the only previous knowledge you're going to need are the very basics of Tekken and the general notation. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new to support more Tekken content like this, and let's get into the video. Okay, so first things first, how does his leveling work? As you can see, right below his health bar, there's a level gauge. Basically, every time you hit your opponent with a move that uses the red sword, you increase this meter. This meter stays between rounds, so as it levels up, you have all of the rounds you need to keep leveling up, and it goes up to a maximum of level 5. Now, what does it do? It enhances one move. Just one move, and that is his 1+4. This move gets progressively enhanced as he levels up. So as you saw there, that is the level 2 version. So that did a decent amount of damage and it transitions you into a cool little animation. I'll show you again. So once you're level 2, you use it and it consumes the meter. It consumes one of it and you go back to level 1. It does decent damage, can be used as a combo ender. The real cool thing is once you get to level 5. Now this, as you can see here, we get a really awesome animation and we get 80 damage. Yeah, you heard me right. This is 80 damage. Now, this isn't really much of a neutral move. If we have him block here, you'll see that it's minus 15 on block, so your opponent will launch you for this. So this is mainly going to be reserved for ending combos. When you have 5 meter, you end a combo with this, and your opponent just blows up. It's one of the most damaging moves in the entire game. You can also use it as like a whiff punish. So if you go for like a really cool sidestep, or your opponent whiffs something, it does have good range. So if you see them whiff something, you can use this, and you get an 80 damage punish. That's it. That's all that happens with his leveling. So let's get into his poking now. So let's start with his very generic stuff. Obviously, jab. If you've seen on my channel, we talk about jabs all the time. It's the most important move of every character. This is how you claim your turn, basically. It gives you +1 on block, and you start all of your momentum. Now, he has some strings off of his jab. He has 1-1. So this is the basis of his poking. This is a very, very good string. It is a natural, so it means they can't duck it. And as you can see here, gives +6 on hit, and on block, it is only -3. This is a very good string. Now, what's cool about this is you can hold forward and you can go into stance. So if you hit 1-1, go forward into stance and you can look for a mix-up. Now, we're going to be talking more about his stances obviously later, but just keep that in mind. 1-1's a very, very good string. We also have 1-2 for a knockdown. Now this is fully natural. This will be your main 10-frame punisher. 1-2, as you can see, it increases the meter as well. And we get a nice little knockdown. Really cool option here. You only want to use this as a punisher because if we set into this, it's -14 on block. So if you're going to do a full string, just do 1-1, keep it safe, only use this for punishments. We also have some other stuff. We have 1 forward 2, which is a very, very interesting option here. Now this gives +1 on block. So if you know your opponent doesn't like to duck a lot, you can try throwing this out. +1 on block, huge knockback as well, and it even does chip damage. What's interesting about this is it's not sidesteppable or interruptible. So usually with moves like this, you can sidestep it really easily or interrupt it, but not this one. The only way to beat it is by ducking. And if they do duck, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, and you're going to get launched. But just keep that in mind. Just more basic poking options that you have at your disposal. Down forward 1, this is your main mid poke. So generally in Tekken, for poking, we mix in jabs, and then when they start ducking our jabs, we use down forward 1. Now, Clive has a pretty good down forward 1. It is 14 frames, which means it's one frame slower than the average down forward 1, but I think he makes up for it in a lot of ways. It's only -3 on block, which we love to see. None of that Devil Jin -6 on block stuff. We have some follow-ups off of this as well, although usually you just want to be using down forward 1 just to, keep your opponent in check. That's the basis of poking in Tekken, right? We do have a follow-up though. We have 4. This is a natural mid follow-up. It's okay, to be honest. It's not the greatest because it is -10 on block. The real string that we care about with down forward 1 is his down forward 1-2. Now this is a crazy good option. This is a high, so it can be ducked. However, you see here how it's -8 on hit? You're like, oh, that seems terrible. If you hold forward, you go into stance. And you see that that is +14 on hits. But the real star is on block. If your opponent blocks this, you get +6 on their block. So if they do anything besides duck, you're going in, you're holding forward, and oh, just for the rest of the video, anytime he does a stance transition, you can either hold forward to get into his stance, or you can press 4. So you can just 1-1 and then 4 to go into his stance, or you can hold forward. So down forward 1-2, if you hold forward, you go into stance, and you get a mix-up. Very, very big plus frames for on block. Again, it is a high, so you do have to be careful. Also, if the high does connect, you can press 1 for a follow-up that gives a ton of damage. It's very risky, of course. Good players will duck this and launch you, but just keep it in mind. Usually, just keep it safe-ish. Down forward 1-1, and you can throw this in occasionally when they're not expecting it, and then go into stance and start your pressure. What is interesting also, Clive gets a new string when he's in heat off of his down forward 1. So if you just press down forward 1-1-1, just keep mashing 1, you get this string. Now, this string is pretty damn broken. If we set him to fully block, look at his health bar. Watch the chip damage here. There's nothing you can do about this. He just takes a ton of damage in chip, like so much damage. So this is like another thing you can mix up when you're in heat, and your opponent just has to respect it. It's only -8 on block, completely safe, and you take your chip damage. You can use 3 of these if you get Heat Engager. We also have 2-2. This is a very good poke. It is a high mid string, completely safe on block at only -8. There's a lot of follow-ups to this. So we can hold forward to go into stance for more mix-ups. Again, we'll discuss the stances later, but just keep that in mind. You can hold forward at -1. You're basically neutral, and you can kind of look for a mix-up and predict what he's going to do. But we have some other cool options. We have an additional 2, so if you press 2-2-2, this is a mid follow-up that is completely safe. It is only -9. Usually moves like this are very punishable. His is not. We get a follow-up -9. Now, what's interesting about this is most characters can't sidestep it. The only character I've seen who can sidestep this is Lily, and you can't interrupt it. Usually with a string like this, your opponent would just like 1-1-2 you and hit you out of it. With Clive, this is not, you cannot interrupt this. It looks like you can, but you can't. It's very, very deceptive. So the only way to beat this is for them to power crush. Otherwise, they can't do anything about this string. And them committing to a power crush is obviously pretty risky, right? If you like mix it up, you just do 2-2 once and you hold back, and they do a power crush, you're going to be able to grab them and get a big punish, right? Very, very strong, really good string. It does a ton of extra damage as well. Like this is a great option to have. We also have a little bit more of a risky option. We have 2-2-1. As you can see here. Now this is a counter hit string. So you don't want to use this on block unless you see the first 2-2s did counter hit. But as soon as you did, you can press 1 and that whole thing becomes guaranteed. So I hope you're kind of like getting the flow, right? Like you're using your jab, you're using your down forward 1-2-2. You see that the 2 counter hits, you follow up with the 1 option. It does have a just frame as well. If you have good timing, as you can see there, the blue sparks. That's all guaranteed on counter hits. And you have tons of time to react. Like if you see the first 2, it's very, very, very hit confirmable, which is awesome. And then you keep mix in obviously the 2-2-2, which is like just a insanely safe option. Very, very strong. And you can go into stance. Lots of ways to mix up your opponent when it comes to his poking with his 2-2-2. Sidestep 2 is another incredibly strong move. It's a great poke. It has infinite range, and keep in mind that all of his sword attacks have ridiculous range. That's just how he is. This is safe on block, completely safe on block at only -9. But what's cool about this is it has a follow-up. If we press 1, we get a Heat Engager, and this is a natural. And I don't know if you see, I'm trying to like delay it here. You have all the time in the world to add that final hit. And it's still a natural, it's still guaranteed. So in neutral, you'll do sidestep 2, just leave it by itself, and then as soon as you visually see that the sidestep 2 hits, you can press 1. You do not need good reaction time to confirm this. It is so incredibly lenient. It's like, it feels like it's like more than half a second you have time to like confirm it. So again, sidestep 2, safe on block mid poke. You see it hits, press 1, and you get one of the best Heat Engagers in the game. This is amazing. Don't throw out both hits preemptively. If you do sidestep 1-2 just immediately without waiting to see that the first hit connected, it is -15, so you will get punished for that. Keep that in mind. In terms of other poking, we have 3-2. This is a string that is very good, mainly because of how much knockback it has. So you can see here it's minus 12, but look at that knockback. No character in the game is punishing that off of a 12 frame. And it also becomes stronger when you're in heat. All of his wolf moves become stronger in heat. Now it does chip damage. So a pretty good poke to keep in mind. Forward 2 is nice to have. It seems like a normal string. So we just do forward 2-2. It seems like, okay, well, it's not that impressive. It's just a basic mid. It is minus 8 on block, mid-mid string, obviously with very good range. However, there's a guaranteed heat engager here. So if this counter hits, if your forward 2 counter hits, you can press another 2 for a guaranteed heat engager. So you're just in neutral, forward 2-2, throwing it out. You see that it counter hits, press 2 again, guaranteed heat engager. More pretty good poking stuff. You can also go into stance. So if you just do a forward 2-2 and you hold forward, you can go into stance. I wouldn't recommend this though because it is minus 5, but it's an option nonetheless. Now, looking at his neutral tools, we have some really, really crazy stuff here. This is where the character becomes pretty broken, in my opinion. Forward 2 is his bread and butter attack, in my opinion. This gives you meter. It gives you a lot of meter, actually. It's a good way to charge up and get your levels going. It does very good damage. It is completely safe on block, as you can see here. Only minus 7. Very good range, as all of Clive's moves do have. And the best part of all, full counter hit launcher. This move does everything. This is one of your main moves that you're going to be using in neutral just to threaten your opponents, because there's always the threat. It's a safe mid, infinite range counter hit launcher, right? Down back 1, this is a broken tracking move. So this is a high, so it can be ducked, that's its weakness, but it is safe on block, as you can see, only minus 8. And on hit, it does, you see there? You just press 1 again, so you do down forward 1-1. 37 damage on hits. So if this hits, if you catch your opponent sidestepping, this does 37 damage. What's cool about it is it doesn't actually let you do the follow-up unless the first hit connects. So there's no risk of you pressing it twice and then you're super minus. It's always safe. This move is always safe to throw out unless your opponent ducks it. What's also cool about this, on counter hits, it's a launcher. This move just does everything. Very, very, very strong move. Don't underestimate this at all. We have, what else do we have? We have back 2. This is, in my opinion, one of the best moves in the game. Probably the best whiff punishing move in the game now. It's absolutely ridiculous. So look at the range here. A little bit out of range, but very, very strong range here. And what's cool about this is you can press forward or press 4. So hold forward after hitting it to go into stance, or you can press 4. And what this does is it gives you guaranteed follow-ups on normal hit. You don't even need to counter hits. So if your opponent whiffs something, you're going to use back 2. If you're decently far away, you'll use back 2, and you hold forward. Now you have a couple options here. You can either press 2-2 for 45 damage guaranteed, as you can see there. And this also gives you a ton of charge for your meter, as you can see there. All guaranteed, 45 damage. Or you can opt for a heat engager. So if you hold forward and press 1+2, you get a heat engager. You can kind of pick which one you value more. Maybe if you really need the meter, you can go for the other option. But this is all guaranteed. This move is ridiculously strong. You could probably get to high ranks just sitting back and just using this as keep out. Unbelievable. And of course, I forgot to mention, safe on block. -4 with ridiculous pushback. This might be his best move. It's very good. Okay, what else? We have while running 2. This is a mid. This is how we start his offense. It's kind of slow to come out, but if you do hit it, you can see there it's a mid, +2 on block. If you hold forward, +14. +14. So if you hit your opponent with this, you hold forward, you go into stance, they have to take a mix-up no matter what. They just have no choice. And we have obviously a lot of really amazing options out of stance, which we're going to talk about later. Incredible neutral tool, in my opinion. We have back 4. For some reason, Clive has a steel pedal. I don't know why he has a steel pedal. He didn't really need this, but this is a Devil Jin Kazuya style steel pedal. Completely safe on block, knocks down, full counter hit launcher, and hits grounded. He has a steel pedal. These moves are just incredibly strong, and again, safe on block. So it does everything, you know. We have sidestep 1+2. This is an absolutely broken launcher, in my opinion. It does take a little bit to come out, but as you see here, it is a full launcher, and plus on block, +2 on block mid, full launcher out of sidestep. Like, it just does everything. Very good move. What else do we have? We have 1+2. This is one of the best heat engagers in the game. It's so fast. Look how fast this comes out. It comes out at 13 frames. Like 13 frames. And what's cool about this? Safe on block. Only -9. Usually moves like this are at least -10, but him, this is a very good panic option. Like your opponent's pressing buttons, 13 frame heat engager at no risk, completely safe on block. It does have weak tracking, keep that in mind. It's not, if your opponent sidesteps, it won't hit, but this is an amazing panic button to have. And speaking of very good heat engagers, we have forward 1+2. In my opinion, one of the best heat engagers in the game. This has full tracking, so not just like a little bit, complete tracking. I'll show you here. It'll track no matter what, as far as I can tell. And it's safe on block. Again, we get him to block here. Only -8 on block. Ridiculous range, like all of his moves tend to have. And if you are in heat, launcher, you heat dash. And it wall splats as well. So this is one of the best heat engagers in the game. It just does everything. Full tracking. So between those heat engagers, you have a super fast panic option that's safe on block, and then if they start sidestepping, you use this. That's a pretty good set of heat engagers just from those two. We have some more other stuff, more limited stuff. We have forward 3. This is his orbital. It's kind of like an orbital-ish. This is a normal hit launcher that completely evades lows. So if you think your opponent's going to use a low, you can go for this. It's very quick, coming out at 10 frames. It is -14 though, so keep that in mind. And speaking of launchers, we have down forward 2. This is just a normal hit launcher. It looks like a 2-hit, but it's only a 1-hit move. Like it's just this, but on hit, you'll go into the follow-up and you get a full launch. And then you can do all your cool combo stuff if we can remember how to do it. And his combos are very easy. Like off of down forward 2, you can literally mash 2-2-2, and you'll immediately go into this, and then you press 3-2 for another follow-up. If you go to sample combos, it'll give you some good ideas on how to get started with him. And I'm sure there'll be many other combo guides coming soon. But this is your 15-frame punish. Nice if you do like a quick sidestep, that's your punisher. And the range is, it's an elbow as well, so it can't be parried. And the range is pretty decent. Like it's not amazing, but it's definitely not bad. Nice launcher to have. We have, I guess we haven't really talked about lows. Down back 4 is a pretty broken counter hit launcher. This comes out at 19 frames, so it's very fast. For context, I believe Jin's down 2 is 22 or 23 frames, and has a very obvious animation. This one comes out at 19 frames, so it's unseeable for pretty much everyone. +4 on normal hits, which is really cool. And as you saw there, full counter hit launcher. Don't sleep on this move. This move is incredible. It is risky. It's -18 on block, so if your opponent makes a hard read, they will launch you for it. But having a unseeable low counter hit launcher like this is an amazing thing to have. Besides that, the rest of his lows are going to be pretty limited, and I do think that's one of his main weaknesses here. We have down 1. This is a very quick low we can use. Gives you +2 on block. It's 18 frames, so it's pretty quick. Bad tracking, though. Has very, very bad tracking. And if they do block it, you're -13. Besides that, we really don't have many other lows. We have a full crouch, down forward 2. This is another low. Very good range. Like, it's a sword. Can't be low parried. Keep that in mind. That's very important to note. And it gives you +3 on block. I believe it gives you... Does it give you anything on counter hit? No, it doesn't. But it's only -12. So if you want safe lows on him, you're using either your down 1 or your full crouch down forward 2. Those are your 2 safe lows, besides stance. So not the greatest set of lows, but you know what? It's really not so bad. I can't say it's bad. In terms of other moves, we have, I didn't mention back 1. I guess I can just quickly mention that now. Back 1, this is fully tracking, quick move. It's -13 on block, but it is a counter hit launcher. Full counter hit launcher, so you get a full big combo, and it does, again, it tracks, so that's another option to keep in mind. We have down 1+2 is another option, kind of like his steel pedal, is back 4. So this will hit grounded. Comes out pretty quick too. Only -6 on block, doing a big amount of chip damage. Look at this. And it is, again, a counter hit launcher. So he has a lot of cool options in the neutral. I hope you've gotten a good feel for that now. We'll go into his stances quickly. We have Phoenix Shift, so this is his main stance. You can access this at any time by pressing forward 4. Like you can press it whenever neutral, and then again, a lot of his moves you can hold forward or press 4 and they'll take you into it. We have some very cool options out of this stance. 2 is your main safe option. This is just a mid, it's +4, and it is only -7 on block. Now you have some follow-ups out of this. It comes out fast too. So if you press 2 again, you'll get this, which does a ton of damage and charges up your meter, as you can see there. This is, surprisingly, this is only we set him to block. This is only -13. I think a string like this would be way more, but it's only -13, so you can catch people off guard with that for sure. It also increases your gauge, like I said. I believe there's another follow-up as well, which isn't too good, but you can do 2-1, only -12. I don't see why you'd really use that option that much, to be honest, but it's there. In terms of other options, we have 1+2, completely safe heat engager, only -7. It is kind of slow to start up, so I'd imagine your opponent will be able to interrupt this, coming off of a lot of your stance transitions. But hey, it's a safe multi-hit heat engager, definitely nothing to ignore there. 3 is our Hell Sweep. If we do stance 3, we get a Hell Sweep. Here we can either press 3-2, get this cool little animation, does 30 damage, or we can do 3-1+2, and this gives us meter charge. You can kind of pick which one you want to do there. Obviously, it's a sweep. It's launch punishable on block. You got to be very careful with it, but it's super fast. So for your mix-ups, it's like you're threatening 2, which is a very strong mid option, or you're threatening a Hell Sweep. Cool 50-50, right? In terms of other stuff, we have his 1. So stance 1, this is a cool power crush. A lot of people, when you're going like into stance pressure, they like to crouch jab you out of it. This, you can beat that, and you can get a ton of damage. It is -14 though, so be careful with it. And if you want another safe low, this is a great option. Good range too. This is a low that comes out at 15 frames. On counter hit, gives you a guaranteed, gives you a guaranteed heat engager if you just press 1+2. And on block, it's very safe. It is only -13. And then there's also, if you think they're going to step, you can use 3+4. This is a weird option I haven't really experimented with, his stance 3+4. It has full tracking though, and it's +7 on block, so this could be a good tool. It does come out very slowly though, and I'm worried about people jabbing you out and floating you for that, but it could be a good option. He has his 3+4 stance, which is not the greatest, but you can see here he goes into a flight stance. You can move during this, and you will auto-parry all lows. In my opinion, one of the main uses of this stance is going to be just using it as a low parry. So whenever you think your opponent's going to press a low, just press 3+4. It's almost instant. It comes out, and you'll parry the low they use. I think that's going to be the main use of this, just using it as a low parry. But you do have some really crazy ranged options while you're in the stance. You press 1, you get a projectile. Look at that. We're back. We have projectiles in Tekken now. And if you hit this, you'll go into stance at +8. That's cool. We have another projectile, actually, if you press 2. This is a very long range projectile. Look at this. It's infinite range, basically. Full stage. This takes you out of the stance, but you'll get some nice damage. I'm not sure how practical it's going to be to actually use in a match, but it is cool. While he's in the stance, he can press 3 to launch you. So if you whiff something, he'll press 3 and he'll get a full combo. And finally, if you want to get out of this stance, you can press forward 4 and go into his Phoenix Shift. Now, that's the main things. I didn't mention it. He has a parry off of back 3. This is a really cool and high damaging parry, so definitely keep that in mind in your gameplay. I guess we can do punishers really quick. So 1-2 is your 10-frame punisher for good damage. Again, we get a nice little charge. You can do 1-1 if you prefer, and then go into stance if you want like a mix-up. That's an option too. Although I'd recommend taking the 1-2 and getting your damage and getting your knockdown. 2-1 is your 12-frame punisher. This has a blue spark variation, as you can see there. If you time it perfectly, you get a couple extra damage. And 34, pretty good for 12-frame. Limited range though, so you do got to be careful. The 1-2 has more range. 13-frame is your heat engager. 1+2. Again, it is safe on block. Amazing tool to have. And then for 15-frame, we will launch with down forward 2. And for crouching punishment, your while standing 4 is your 11-frame punish as normal. You can go into stance off of this though. So you hit it, hold forward, go into stance, get a mix up. Cool option to have in my opinion. We have What else do we have? We have while standing 1-2. So for 13 frames, you can either do while standing 1-2 for a heat engager, or you can do 1-2. This does more damage and gives you a good amount of charge, but you lose the heat engager. So you can kind of pick which one is more valuable to you there. And then 15 frame, we have his while standing 2, normal launcher, and you go through a full combo. That's pretty much it. That's Clive. He seems like a very strong character in this game. He's super all-around. He has access to a lot of really cool, unconventional tools. I'm not exactly sure where he's going to fit on the tier list. In my opinion, I think he's very strong. Again, his only weakness is just going to be the lows. Just this and that are going to be your only like neutral lows, but even that, they're not bad. And again, when you have a tool like his down back 4, you really don't need that many lows, to be honest. But yeah, that's been Clive. If you guys enjoyed the guide, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. I really appreciate you guys all watching, and I will see you guys later. Take it easy.